Okay, so continuing here, I would like you to please notice then, right at this 7, you have the 27. That is going into what I talked to you about is the 3 7s, okay? The 2 7s, the 3 7s idea. The 21, the reverse, the 12, the 3, the idea of the 33 if the reflection in the mirror is seen, all right? The idea if you take a 3, all right, and you hold it up to the mirror, it's going to reflect and then create what looks like an 8, all right? The idea of 7 into 8, or the transformation, the idea of black swan, the idea of becoming, all right? So remember that. And also, if you take the 7 and the 7, the 14 plus the 2, you get the 16 and or again the 7. Please understand this, that when you flip the 6 and the 9, then that false idea of truth, then the purple, that idea of the purple lie then becomes your foundation. That is what your truth is built upon. And you've replaced the truth of Christ with the foundation of your own lies and the belief in the world that has been given to you by men and women who are nothing but liars. Please understand then that the devil is in the details, which is why when you go from the idea of the I into the devil, the idea of the 26 into the 8, which is why you have the understanding of the 88 again, reducing to the 16, reducing again to your 7. All right? Do you get that? So, then, of course, do you understand you being the hanged man is then placed into this detailed lie. You are placed into the 6, the cube, the box, the idea of the fallen system, all right, with your new foundation. And, of course, then that becomes what? Your kingdom. That is what you are ruled by. You are ruled by that new kingdom or the judgment, and you are ruled under the light of the moon. That's why the moon's always shown in that aspect, and it deals with the idea of transforming a man into a werewolf. All right, do you get it now? Anyways. And again, before I leave this and go back to the my computer schematic I was putting together for you, you understand then the idea of the 32 and the taw or the cross means then you are hanged on the cross, then that becomes the 33. All right, you then become the 33. You are mirroring that understanding of the 6. All right, the 33, the 6. You are mirroring that fallen lie, hoax system. All right. Now, again, just to go over some of the stuff I just got done telling you about. So you see from the 6 to the 7, there is a 1 in the 6, so therefore it's already activated. But into the 7, into the Zion, there's a choice again to be made. There's no 1 in this equation. Therefore, it is requiring an input. And that means a thought or a belief. You see that this is what's called Ramsey's theorem, meaning at the top of the pyramid, what is displayed to you in the hoax pyramids as being the removed capstone or the illuminated eye or the missing capstone on the back of the dollar bill is that it is a unfinished thought. It is an unfinished action, and it requires that you complete it in order for it to be a completed project. All right, the Ram C or the CC. And when you ram those together, you must mirror opposite these. All right, then those two get put together, and then this what some people would see as what's called a torus field, or this would become turned around and then become what is pushed together and then creates the understanding of the 8. All right. So then take a look here. You have, again, you have the 6, the 5, and the 4 leading into your 15 or the 6. But guess what? You've decided that story's true. That's the one that you need. That's the 6 plus the 1 or the Zion or the 7. That is, again, your 7. That's your 7 code. Then that goes into your next position, the 8, which is the devil's in the details, which is representation of the 9-11 system. All right? It's the 9-11, the 9 plus the 2, plus your 1, all right, becomes the 9-11 plus the 1 becomes what? Your 12, reversed, 21, 777, reversed again, 3, or, of course, the triangle, or, of course, remember what I showed you before? Here, back up to the top, the understanding. You said, I understand this as being true, therefore I'm going to react as if it is true. That is your towers being knocked down by a lie. All right? Take a minute to understand that. And now to finish this up. Remember I told you that the 6 and the 9 get reversed, and that's the understanding of why you see the 69, or the idea of cancer. All right? So then you've accepted this cancer, this false idea, this disease. All right? Then that 9th position again is a 2 only. So then that again is a repeat of the 9-11. 9-1-1-1-1-9. All right? Okay, so simply added up the 9-11 into the 2, making, of course, your 13. And what is, again, I've told you what the 13 represents. The 13, reversed, when you reverse it into the 31, it becomes the 6 into the 7 into the 8. And that is, of course, the top of the mark. That is, of course, the illuminated eye. And that is, of course, the illuminated idea. Dia, meaning deity, that you have chosen to believe. All right? Now remember, this goes into everything. So not every thought is evil, and there are things that are true. So this applies to absolutely everything, good and bad, because the evil system mirrors a good system, because that is the way it can be believed by people who otherwise would have better sense or common sense. So it has to follow this logical pattern. Otherwise, it's just far-fetched. It's unbelievable. It's this, that, and the other thing. All right. So what they'll do is they'll take a truth and flip it on its head, so that in the mirrored reflection, and you know when you look in a mirror, that the picture looks the same, but your depth of focus isn't there. It's not quite the same. You can see, okay, that's a reflection because I don't see the same depth of focus. I can see that's a reflection and not a first image, or not my original sight. It's a reflection of an original sight or original idea. All right. So then, do you decide through this whole pattern? And this happens this quick. This happens this quick on anything. Going back to the apple and the orange. Do I want to eat it? All this happened already. You decide or you didn't decide. Now, if you decided, I'm going to go ahead and look at this story, then you're going to spend a lot of time in the 8s with your towers crashing down. All right? But remember that this is a reversed opposite system, being that you're hanging upside down. All right? So to you, it's going to look like the towers are being built up, and that your idea and understanding is in fact increasing, when in fact it is always at the same time falling. All right? So then here's what you do, is you do not activate this bit, meaning you dismiss it. And this system then cannot return back to the 1. All right? Meaning starts over and over and over. This, do you believe in dinosaurs? This continues, because every story that comes out, it's going to reinforce this false idea that you have. Do you believe in man traveling through space? Every story comes out in order to keep your towers activated. The idea of the Jacob's ladder, or the idea of keeping that charge going up the ladder without it ever escaping and allowing it to return. All right? So what you have to do is you have to break out of the system. You have to break the mold. You break the towers. You break the 9/11. You push the towers to the side, like Samson breaking down the building, and let the system fall to the sides of you. All right? And then you become dead to the world, but you become alive in Christ. All right. Does that make any sense? All right. So anyways, that's a basic outline of what I call the mind computer. And this is something that if you understand this, then you understand the way that everybody around you thinks. And this is fact. All right. This is the way this works. These numbers are used to show you the way that the mind works, to show you the form and the path and the method of thought, all right, the understanding and the reasoning, or the idea of reasoning, all right. So anyways, I hope that this helps you make more sense of the 7 code, the idea of the hoax, and why it's important not to engage at these very specific points where at the 2, remember I told you, at the point of concern, that second spot, it's requiring that you go ahead and turn that bit on in your mind. It requires that you say, okay, that's wisdom. That's truth. Therefore, I'm going to engage that bit. All right? And then I'm going to allow that 44, that idea of outside, you're outside that cube. You're outside that 68 system at that moment. But then you add that bit, it becomes the 9. That then becomes your foundation. And then you then fall into the system, going up into the 6, going through what's called Ramsey's theorem, which is, of course, the lighting of the capstone, and that capstone is what leads you into what's called the 9/11 system, or the towers, and those towers are, of course, built on the sides of you within your mind as being truth. Therefore, you've allowed yourself to fall victim and to fall within a system and to be caged within the towers, the watchtowers of the system. All right, because the understanding that you have been turned on your head has been forgotten. You have been born into the sea of forgetfulness. All right, you have been born into the sea. All right, the 3. All right, you have been born into, let me show you, the understanding of the world. Unfortunately, the understanding of the world is in fact a lie, because all they've told you are lies. All right? So anyways, if you'd like more on this, because please take a look at this before I run out of time. Let me move this to the side so you can see. I've reduced this down to where it becomes a certain shape. This, of course, is not needed because I'm telling you, do not participate in the system. All right? So then now, do you see this shape? And now do you see the shape here? All right? Now this video is going to go in and explain to you the understanding of what this 47th problem is. It's a Masonic joke. And in fact, most of these people, most of these Masons, don't understand this system because they too are involved in the world, and this world is what gives them sustenance. It is their foundation. That's what gives them their paychecks. That's what gives them their house. That's what gives them their daily bread. That is their God. All right? That is their God, their living God. Do you understand that?